Good evening. I'm your Campus Connect meteorologist, Aaron Lowry, and right now we're going to be taking a look at Hurricane Florence. We've been tracking this monster across the Atlantic for the last week and a half, and now it has come time for it to about make landfall. This is our long-wave infrared satellite. The dark red areas are the areas of the storm that are the strongest. This is where the most rising motion is, the strongest winds. But that does not mean that the outer bands are not dangerous. They're still dumping lots of rain, and they still have very strong wind gusts. And here is our shortwave satellite. So you can look at some of these clouds. You can just see how thick they are here in the center. And there's your eye right around here where the strongest winds are. In these outer bands, you've still got quite a bit of rain being dropped all across the North Carolina coast and into the South Carolina coast, Wilmington and those type of areas. Now, satellite radar, these bands right here, that's a whole bunch of heavy precipitation. And for a storm that's moving at only 5 miles an hour, we're talking feet of rain for these areas along the North Carolina coast. And it's just not going to be ending until possibly Saturday as it's moving just so slowly. Now, moving on, in addition to that, we've got very large wave heights and storm surge. So we've got insurmountable flooding coming from feet of rain that rivers aren't going to be able to handle. In addition to storm surge that's pushing on, we're talking about areas in North Carolina that may be uninhabitable for a certain amount of time because of how much water this is. The winds, though, you still have to respect the wind damage. Inland, it's not too strong, the gusts aren't too powerful, but the storm hasn't yet made landfall, which means the strongest winds have yet to come on land, and you're seeing some really strong gusts here. 86 miles an hour, 87 miles an hour pushing on land. You know, that's enough to knock somebody over. It's pretty strong. And associated with those strong winds, we have our hurricane advisory. We have a hurricane warning that is just encompassing pretty much the entirety of the North Carolina coast, a hurricane watch down here in South Carolina, and a tropical storm warning a bit further inland once the storm begins to weaken. Now, speaking of weakening, here's our track. Storm's probably going to make landfall around tomorrow morning, probably as either a Cat 1 or a Cat 2 storm. However, once it makes landfall, it's going to start to weaken rather quickly. It should be a tropical storm probably by midday Saturday, and then it's going to become a tropical depression by later in the afternoon on Saturday before it becomes just a low pressure system that will push further inland. That being said, it's still going to drop a whole lot of rain across the North Carolina area, doing just a whole lot of damage. The evacuation orders definitely needed to be heeded. Now you can see here's the track. Category 2 as of right now, you know, you can see coming landfall. We don't know yet whether it will be a Cat 2 or a Cat 1 landfall, but expect somewhere in that range. Now, by Saturday afternoon, you're going to see it start to weaken into a tropical storm before coming a depression later into Saturday evening. And you can see it's going to start taking this more northward turn as there is a ridge over the center of the U.S., a high pressure system that's going to help to drive this storm further up into the north.